Saute! This is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David.
Hi, Jeff.
I'm going to talk about Blaster Master.
Awesome.
This is the intro to the original NES Blaster Master. As the screen said, there's a 1988, it's the original Blaster Master.
Mm-hmm.
It also mentions a Switch version, which is 2017, 2018, when was last year? It was 2017.
Yeah.
It literally just went by. But I was looking at the other screen. It's fine.
Yes.
Blaster Master Zero is the name of the one that is on Switch, and it is a remake of the original Blaster Master. We will be cutting back and forth between the two and going through the first level of each.
Okay.
They are very similar. The first level of each is very similar. You can kind of get an idea. The one that fills the 16:9 frame is the newer one.
Oh, okay.
As you can tell,
I get.
Right
I get
now,
it.
we're doing sort of an introduction comparison. The original version of Blaster Master for the NES had just nameless boy and radioactive frog goes down hole. Oh, hey, there's a jumping tank. It's I put a suit on. Let's go.
Let's go find my radioactive frog.
The Japanese version was called Meta Fight, and had more of the anime-esque intro that this has here. Mm-hmm. The Blaster Master Zero, the remake version, is sort of a, I think it's kind of a combination of the two.
Okay.
So you have this like unnecessarily complicated, long-winded story about, a post-apocalypse and everyone living underground, and then there being an ice age, and then eventually trying to live overground again. But then there's underground habitat still, and then there's a mysterious frog, but it's not a frog; it's like an alien frog.
Okay.
And this anime
this anime genius in field of robotic engineering.
Robotics, yes, who is robotics engineering, but I guess also has like is super passionate about biology. Has a super sick shirt.
Oh, hey.
He's like, I'm gonna study this frog. I'm gonna call it Fred, and there you go. And then Fred jumps into an interdimensional portal, and then he finds the Sophia Nora, the third Nora, and then he goes on from there. So it's like unnecessarily complicated, and it's pleonastic to the point of annoyance, but that's fine. Whatever, it only lasts so long, and you can skip this stuff. I just put it in for comparison's sake. It is it bloviates a little bit. You can tell it's a space frog because it's got like bracelets.
It's got jewelry.
it's got like jewelry, and it matches its eyes. It's very fashionable.
It's not just because they only had so many colors, because it's on the Switch.
It's on the Switch. Blaster Master Zero is a very good remake of Blaster Master, the original Blaster. Blaster Master 1 is one of my favorite games.
Yes.
And has a super dope soundtrack that is amazing, even today.
Yes.
I'd say that as far as NES games go, it's probably one of the most influential, at least on my ideas of like games I want to make, games I want to play. This and, like Mega Man and Contra and your Castlevanias and Final Fantasies, etc., etc. Video games that everyone knows about. Mm-hmm. I'd say that probably a lot of people maybe have a passing knowledge of Blaster Master.
Right.
Probably confuse the name.
With Master Blaster, yes.
Probably.
I typed Master Blaster at first when I was saving the audio recording.
Very good. So, confirmed.
Yep.
Ooh. Blaster Master is an action game. It's side-scrolling. It also has overhead dungeons. Oh, hold on. I have to listen to this. Yeah.
There's that track. Yes.
There's that triangle wave. Those octaves. Those octaves, though. As it might be obvious, this is the NES version I'm currently looking at.
Yeah, I couldn't tell by the slowdown or the colors.
That slowdown, very accurate. It's also very accurate.
Yes.
Blaster Master is a very difficult game. Mm-hmm. It gets much harder towards the end. There's a lot of BS. Blaster Master Zero fixes most of it by being like a much better designed game. It's by Inti Creates.
Right.
Let's see, what else have they done?
They did Shantae, right? Or no, I'm thinking Way Forward.
That's Way Forward.
Yeah. Oh, what else has Inti Creates?
I want to say that they did Gunvolt.
Oh, did they do Azure Gunvolt?
I think so. Let me pull up a list real quick.
Right.
The music has changed.
It's
and you may have noticed that there's
worse.
The level 1 theme of the Blaster Master Zero is, as you can tell, a remix version of the original. Mm-hmm. it's fine. Graphics are much improved,
yes.
and it also controls a lot better. The tank, even in the original, which is one of the things that greatly appeals or is memorable and unique about the game, is that the tank has a momentum to it. It's got a bounce, and you don't stop on a dime.
Right.
So there's a little bit of momentum. There's a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
It's not like it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, just the idea of a jumping tank that fires, and you have a little dude that can jump out of it and go into mini dungeons is just so awesome for, like, I don't know, like 7-8-year-old me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Antiquates did Mega Man 0, Mega Man 0, 2, 3,
Yes.
4, ZX.
And Azure Striker Gunvolt.
And Mega Man 9.
Mega Man
9.
So yes, they have a lot of experience with this genre.
Yes.
Which is like good side scrolling.
They also made Mighty Number 9, so not everything can be a hit, but
they contributed to Mighty Number 9. They actually made the best version of Mighty Number 9, which was the 8-bit version of Azure Striker Gunvolt that had Beck as a playable character.
So that would...
It was basically like, oh, okay, so it's a good version of Mighty Number 9 made in like 1/10 of the cost and time. Fantastic.
Yay! So this is back on the NES, right?
Yes, this is the NES again.
Okay.
I'm gonna call BS on the fact that I picked up that gun power-up and it didn't really give it to me.
Yeah.
I think I was still getting hit. It was like the hurt animation. It was some garbage.
Right.
In the original Blaster Master for the overhead Jason sections, fun fact, you have unlimited bombs. They're limited in the remake, but they're just a resource. But then you also get a bunch of different sub-weapons anyways. There's a lot more variety in the remake, which is fine. It essentially works the same with, getting your gun power-ups, and then there's like 8 different levels, and each one has increasingly, screen-filling kind of effect, and so forth. There's a lot more items that are added, such as, like the map here.
A map.
They add in like health power-ups. There's a bunch of new sub-weapons. In the original version, sub-weapons are all consumables. But everything is based off of a recharging energy system in the remake, which means you can have a lot more fun experimenting with your different sub-weapons and stuff. When you're in the tank. So the tank, the Sophia the Third Nora. That right there, you can see that the enemy is positioned right near the entrance of the dungeon.
So you get
that
hit.
is bad design.
Yes, as it turns out. Yes.
When they remade it, as you noticed when it was going in and out, we'll actually see him come out again. You'll notice that the position on that is tweaked. So better design. So
you're not forced to take damage.
So that's what I would say is the main strength of the remake, is that the spirit is there, but a lot of the sort of just weird decisions or things that make it unnecessarily difficult or obscure or whatever just removed, which is great.
Yeah,
because like I play Blaster Master Original a lot.
Yes,
I'm very familiar with like the ins and outs of it. So like I know how to, vaguely speaking, I know how to get through most of the game. I don't have it's not like Super Metroid in that I have basically the entire map in my head and could describe the entire game from beginning to end using only sound cues kind of thing. Which I had done at one point. I think I've told this story before.
I don't know if you have.
When I was, you'll notice that the entrance is all the way on the left.
Right.
You still have it's the same idea where you have the ledge there which you can climb on, but the enemy starts on the right instead of just right on top of you.
Yes.
Also, you have a little light that is showing you the direction of your objective, basically.
Huh.
And you have a map and all that kind of stuff. The story was that I was when I played for the indie dance band Glassnose.
Right.
I would often drive them to shows. We'd be driving usually in Austin, and we're driving from Houston. And for those that aren't aware of Texas geography, it's like How long is that? It's like 3
Houston
hours?
to Austin, depending on how you drive, hour and a half to 3 hours.
No, I think yeah. Okay, we'll say that it's highly variable. We'll just say 2.5.
Right. I've made it in like 2 hours, but
sure,
don't ever do that. Maybe I didn't.
That.
Maybe I just said that for comedic sake.
Yeah, maybe it was a fun goof.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a fun goof. But I would often drive because usually be borrowing my parents' Suburban for equipment reasons, and then like, oh, it makes sense I'd drive. Plus, I'd be the designated driver because I don't really like to drink that much.
Right.
But then they could drink all they wanted to. Anyways, that's so the setup is that I'm usually driving, and the rest of the band will be in the back and talking about whatever, or playing whatever. On one occasion, one of them was playing Super Metroid on like an emulator on their phone, which is not ideal.
No.
With like on-screen virtual controls.
I've done that. It sucks. Yeah.
It does. And he was saying that he was stuck. So I'm driving, so I'm just listening to him talk about it, like, oh, I'm stuck. And I was like, can you describe where you are? And he's like, oh, I'm kind of here. And I'm like, oh, is there like gas? Are you in a shaft? Or is it like a horizontal area? What's the color scheme? I was like, okay, you're in the first area of Norfair. You need to go up until you get to an elevator, and then at the top of the elevator room, you need to shoot a super missile in the lower right corner, which will lead to Kraid's Lair, which is where you're going to find the Varia suit, which you need to get past the gas. And he does that, and he's like, oh, hey, you're right. That is what I needed to do. I was like, yeah, I know. It's, let's say that, it's hard to tell if that's good or bad because I've played it so much and it's so, ingrained in my consciousness. But yeah, that is kind of BS. There's basically no indication at all. I guess you can get the X-ray scope and then you can X-ray. I don't remember the exact order or timing of the X-ray scope. Let's talk about Blaster Master.
Let's talk about Blaster Master, yeah.
I really like Blaster Master.
Yeah, Blaster Master's real good. It's a shame that I have not sat down and beaten it yet, but
the original Blast Master, as mentioned before, is very difficult. But you can find ways around that. Maybe like some sort of save state, load state scenario.
It's
weird.
Maybe the SNES Classic someday will have the capability of playing
maybe one
Nintendo
day
games.
the SNES Classic will be able to do that.
Yes.
It's weird that it would, because it's called the Super Nintendo Classic. It's not a Super Nintendo game.
You're right.
But hypothetically,
it's almost the exact same circuit board on the inside.
And yeah, hypothetically, it's, who knows what could happen.
Right.
That one goes up and down.
Yeah, that.
I see what you're doing, Indie Creates.
Just playing with your expectations.
I know. We have different weapons here. They actually give them names in that one. Oops, had a little pause right there.
Right.
You might notice that I'd be playing other games such as
Darkest Dungeon
and Mario Odyssey. Surprise.
Yeah.
I can't talk about Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, you can't? Is it because we'll spend the rest of the episode talking about Darkest Dungeon?
I have thoughts.
Ooh.
But that's fine. That'll be maybe. Well, I'll say that for the podcast portion of a different video.
Right. Oh, hey, that's the Azure Striker Gunvolt gun.
Yeah, and it goes. Bzzzt. It goes. Bzzzt. Bzzzt.
It's your chain lightning gun.
That's another difference. Like I said, is the way that the. In this version, the remake, the sub-weapons that your tank gets are infinite and recharge. So the resource that you consume is like blue, little blue things, but it recharges. But the sub-weapons when you're adjacent on foot is limited, and you have to collect them by just getting yellow power-ups. Okay. It's actually the complete opposite in the original game, where your sub-weapon, which is the bombs, is infinite when you're playing as Jason, but is limited to consumables that you have to pick up when you're in your tank. And for the most part, you're just going to be using the homing missiles because they're the best.
Right.
Maybe you'll use lightning. We'll see the lightning. It's not terribly useful because it's a little too random to be useful.
Right.
But this is an example of a good change.
Ooh.
Because the grenades are very powerful, and the other sub-weapons you get as well. Your actual weapon is actually extremely powerful too. We're just gonna use the wave beam because it is the good one. Penetrates and it shoots very quickly. It's sort of the ideal.
Oh, hey.
And also you, in the original game and in the remake, when you get hit, you lose one of your weapon power-ups, so you power down. So the wave is the last one, but there's new things you can collect in the remake where you can get like, gun shielding, basically, where you can prevent certain hits from taking damage.
Right.
It gives you more reason to explore. The original game was basically side-scrolling areas in the tank, and then you would find dungeons, but only one of the dungeons mattered because that's the one with the boss in it, and the other ones basically were full of nothing.
Right.
It's kind of a waste of time.
But now they're full of something.
But yeah, but now they added stuff. You little knickknacks and collectibles, and you can find a map, or you can find like extra health. The more interesting ones are new sub-weapons for your tank, new sub-weapons for your dude. There's more mini. They added a bunch of new mini bosses. It's expanded very well. They even added, which is something that is actually sorely missing in the original, they added some tank boss fights. Because in the original game, the tank is used exclusively for side-scrolling exploration.
Right.
But you don't ever actually fight any bosses. All the boss fights in the original game are handled in the overhead sort of Zelda-esque looking perspective with your little dude.
Right.
But thankfully they actually added a few in tank boss fights, which was nice.
Yeah.
So everything they added was great. There's also one weapon, which I won't spoil, that they added, which is amazing. I would recommend probably if you have a Switch, it's great. That's the way you would have to play it.
Right.
And I guess I'm sure there will be other ways eventually, but at least for now, the original is still very good. I would recommend just playing it on an emulator or something where you can save states. It's a lot less frustrating, especially if you just go down like an area and then it's a dead end and you're like, okay, what was the point of this? Well, there wasn't, because a different time.
Because Final Fantasy 2.
I'm gonna try. Okay, I got it.
You got it.
You also notice, and this is a problem with other games, why does it only scroll when you're at the bottom third?
Because it doesn't want you to die? I don't know.
No. That's just
Contra.
That's poor scrolling. Well, let's take a gander into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little map. You can see that some mini bosses are there.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we got the map part, it just tells you like, hey, and then area 2 is over there. That's where you need to go. It's like, all right, good to know.
That's convenient.
Yeah, well, what convenience. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that maybe a little known fact. Pro tip for my FAQ, which I'm doing right now. If you hold R, ZR, or whatever the R1 version is on the Switch. I think that's ZR. Nope, it's regular R. Well, whatever. Shoulder button.
Yeah.
You can, much like in Contra 3 or something, lock your firing position. You can also do this in the original Blaster Master. Only in the overhead Zelda-like sections, though.
But, Jeff, if you don't have an R, how can you do that?
How can you? I will tell you, David. Thank you for this little alley-oop there.
Yep.
Transition so smooth. You just hold the B button. So in this case, the button that you use to shoot your grenades, because it's just shoot and grenades, and move around in the original when you're in those Jason specific sections. So if you just hold down the button, you'll continue facing the same direction that you were facing before, which makes I don't know, things like the level 5 boss, which is extremely difficult, doable, I feel.
Not easy, but accomplishable.
Yes, definitely doable. Also, the angled shots is something that was added for the new one as well. Mm-hmm. Although you had the sort of animation of the angled cannon, you would only be able to do the right, left, and up with the original Sophia tank.
I didn't know that. Oh. Well, there you
So
go.
the one thing
Oh.
that is not improved, and you probably have already noticed, you've actually already commented on it.
Oh, I did?
Yes. Is the music.
Yeah.
The music is jaunty and appropriate. Like this music here, this is fine. This is maybe a necessary addition. So it's like a, on foot theme instead of just the level 1 theme, which goes forever until you get to the next level.
Right.
So this one will have, a little on foot theme. There's the tank theme. There's like mini boss theme. So it's got more music, but it does not have better music. The most disappointing part about the remake is actually that it does it does a remix of the first song, but all the rest of the music is basically original. Which is criminal because the music in Blaster Master is fantastic. There's the 6/8 like funkiness of level 2, which we'll hear the theme we'll hear a little bit. It ran into me, I lost my gun.
Oh, now you got your little slow-moving flamethrower.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change that out. That's just a poor experience.
Yeah.
Level 2's music in the original is so good. I mean, like a lot of NES music, it's only like a minute long and then it loops.
Right.
But that minute is concentrated goodness. And I would say that a lot of the music in the original is very good. The level 4 theme is very boring, the sewers, I find. Does have a croaking frog sound in the original NES version. So it's got that going for it.
Yeah.
But the level 5 music is appropriate, maybe not my favorite. Level 6 is just one of my favorites. Level 7 is also like super fast, double time, kind of crazy song in the original. The music in the remake, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Try out a new thing we got. We got a little mine. So it was the thing they're using against us. It's crap, but it's fine that it's there. It's okay. They put it in there. It's variety, sure. Why not? Just go back to the other thing.
Yeah,
the regular grenades are pretty good.
So, I mean, my opinion on music in games in general, but in this instance, it's just like it's the one thing from Blaster Master that I actually really and truly know is the music, because I remember one New Year's Eve, because it was our tradition to hang out once a year on New Year's Eve. Your brother and I, we stayed up till 2 in the morning playing Blaster Master, and the one thing I remembered was the music. That's the one thing that stuck with me more than anything. And then you're like, all right, well, they took it all out. I was like, well...
All right, hold on, wait. Yeah, that's stuff.
Yeah. Like, I can see them not wanting to keep it the exact same. Like, let's do a remix of it or whatever. It's like, hey, let's just change it.
Yeah, they ended up just changing it. It's not inspired by it. It's just kind of like their own thing.
Right.
And after the first level, it's generally the same, but the remake is its own thing as far as like theming and other things. Like they reinterpret level 2 instead of this sort of like, I don't know,
weird castle thing.
Weird castle thing. Basically looks like a mansion from Castlevania 2.
Right.
Actually, maybe it is a mansion from Castlevania 2.
I kind of looks it. It's either that or like something from Legacy of Wizard.
Yeah, maybe. They reinterpreted it in the remake as the residential district, so it has a similar layout, but it's more of like a futuristic / underground city kind of thing. And that works fine. Also, I'm pausing to go through the transitions because it skips. Just a tiny little speedrun trick.
Right.
It skips a few frames. I gotta save those frames.
I will say I've watched more speedruns of this game than many others, just because it's a fun game to watch being speedrun well.
There is some very good... If you've never played the game before, I mean, I won't spoil it, but there's some very, very good power-ups that you get in this game, which I haven't really ever seen in any other game. broadly speaking, I'd say it's kind of a Metroid-ish style of getting new powers in order to access the next area. I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Where you are at one point literally getting a key to unlock a door, which is a little disappointing. But for the most part, the power-ups that you get are the things that allow you to get into the new areas. So like that H, for example, and that HUV meter, which is empty on the left of the screen, might indicate one of the things that you might do. Let's go in here. I learned something about the original Blaster Master right now, which is if you pop out of the car into a corner, you get stuck there forever. Let's try that again. We'll start over. Hold on, we'll start over. That's fine. We'll start over. What happened again, David? Why am I in this eternal torment? That's it for Blaster Master. Thanks for watching.
I didn't know about that. Oh.
If you enjoyed this video that you have seen, do the normal things that people on YouTube do,
which is go to Patreon or
go to PayPal.
Which
is go to Patreon.
Go to Patreon or go to Powell.
Yes,
Powell. PayPal or like, comment, subscribe, all that.
Yes,
like
those things. Yes, we have a Patreon. Yep. We can get money monthly. It's very helpful.
Yes,
you can give us tips. Also
I replaced my dead modem with that. With some of that money, so we could do this today.
Dude, let's behind the curtain for just a brief moment. That reminds me, I have to get an AdSense account set up for the channel because everything was demonetized. Because it's like, oh, where's your AdSense account? Like, we didn't need that before. It's like, well, you do now. Nothing is being monetized. Cool. Thanks, YouTube.
Well, that's good.
Fortunately, most of the money comes from
Patreon
patrons, which is nice. So if you want to support, just do it directly.
Yep.
It's a good style.
Are we still even part of a network?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Verified. I think it's still verified partner. That's neither here nor there.
that's not important right now.
Yeah, that's okay. Back to where we've left behind. We're back to the front of the scenes. Back to the front of the scenes.
Front of scenes, front of stage.
Blaster Master.
I really ought to play. Like it's on my SNES Classic right now. I could go play it.
It's weird because it's not a Super Nintendo game. There are a lot of other Blaster Masters, and they're all pretty much garbage.
Yeah.
There's Blaster Master 2, which is for the Genesis.
It's bad.
It's poor. Not the least of which is because it's on the Genesis. Let's be honest.
Which while
it's not doing any favors.
The Genesis also had a kind of, as somebody who loves the Commodore 64 SID chip and the gnarly sounds it could get, the Genesis sound chip is garbage, and I hate it.
Yes. Except for the soundtrack for Contra Hardcore. That one gets a pass.
That gets a pass, but it's still just like, oh, if this were on literally any other sound chip, I think it would sound better. But
there was Blaster Master Blasting Again for PS1.
Which was bad.
It was, I don't remember. I remember playing it. And it was 3D. It was look, we talked about this before we recorded, but there are no good 3D PlayStation 1 games. They all look like butt.
No, we
okay, yes. Metal Gear Solid, because of
forced perspective.
Of some forced perspectives. It was making the most out of its cinematic presentation.
Also,
but things like Mega Man Legends just don't really work. They have the weird texture stretching, and you can only see like 2 feet in front of you, and there's no ceilings.
I will say that Spyro and games like that actually did it pretty well. So we determined it was either really cartoony aesthetics that could get away with low texture detail, and Metal Gear Solid. That's what we came up with.
Yeah, that's basically it. So Blaster Master Blasting Again was for PS1 and was, I just don't remember much.
It got a 7.7 out of 10 on GameSpot.
I know that there was a Wii version. I'm trying to get the link on that. Disambiguation. Yes. Okay. There was Blaster Master Jr.
Right. Yes.
There was Blaster Master Enemy Below. Game Boy Color. But there was Blaster Master Overdrive, which is a WiiWare game, which was another reimagining, reboot, weird thing. Because it's like the same as Blaster Master Zero, except Blaster Master Zero skews a lot closer to the original.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember Blaster Master Overdrive very much. It just faded from the brain after playing it. Maybe it's fine. I don't really remember that much about it, honestly. But it's extant, if nothing else. But having played a lot of Blaster Master Zero, it is made very well by a group of people that are very good at designing good 2D run and gun / platformer / shooters / Metroidvania kind of styled things. Which is great because that's what it is.
Right.
It's one of the very first. You don't get fancy terms like, Blaster Mastervania or something. It doesn't quite work. But in my heart, it's one of the first of the genre.
Yeah. Hold on. You keep talking. Hold on. Vamp.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, the end. And then we could go play Monster Hunter.
I gotta check a thing. All right?
Okay. David is checking a thing. I will continue talking about Darkest... No, I can't talk about Darkest.
Okay, no, I had to double check a thing. If Metroid or Blaster Master came out first.
Which came out first?
Well, which do you think?
I assume Metroid. But I don't know for sure.
By 2 years.
Okay, yes.
Metroid came out the year of my birth.
I see. Very good.
But so yeah, let's hear your thoughts on Darkest Dungeon.
They are the following.
Okay.